Okay, so this little video is going to look at the medium-term causes of the Easter Rising of 1916. So there are two main ones here, as you can see. So there is the problems of the Home Rule movement, and there is the impact of the formation of the UVF on the IRB as well too. Okay, so if we look at this, then we can clearly see, first of all, that the Home Rule movement might have appeared to be very strong, very dominant, but there are issues that you need to know about. Okay, so the main problem was that despite its dominance electorally across the island of Ireland, where it had probably 75% of the vote at least, the IPP was actually dependent on the Liberals, and that was clear for all to see. If it wanted to achieve anything in Ireland, it's basically the Liberals who are going to have to push it through. The IPP is dependent on them. Okay, IPP were in the paradoxical situation where they were winning elections across the island of Ireland, but never held government office. If this was in Great Britain and they had the same amount of results, they would have been on the landslide. They would have actually had complete control of Great Britain. But it wasn't the case across the United Kingdom. IPP was slightly smaller, obviously, and it was in the thrall of the Liberal Party across the border. So this dependence would see them willing to make concessions, obviously, to keep the Liberal government happy. And those concessions included partition. People in Ireland were now prepared to use more radical methods to gain independence. They saw the Home Rule movement was so linked with Liberals, and they wanted a lot more than what was being offered them. Okay, and then you have what the North began, basically. Okay, because in the North, how they started the UVF, that really ironically inspired those in the South. So there's all these statements here you can clearly see. So Carson relit the Fenian flame, according to Laffan. He set us a splendid example, according to Tom Clark. What the North began was an article by Owen McNeill, and he suggested that nationalists should actually take their lead from unionists, so from the UVF. He argued that unionists were actually really wanting their own Home Rule movement, as they wanted to be masters of their own fate, the way people in the rest of Ireland wanted to be as well too. And McNeill took charge of the newly formed Irish Volunteers, which was, IVF was basically in contrast to the UVF in the North. Redmond, obviously worried about this, demanded that 25 Home Rulers be added to the committee of the IVF in order to control it. Agreement on this soon developed, though, internal problems within the IRB. And they would slowly regain their position after Howth and the gun running. So this is whenever the IVF basically imported its arms into Howth, just north of Dublin. But the whole episode was marred in controversy because people were shot dead in Bachelor's Walk in Dublin as they were marching in with these weapons. And that's complete contrast to what happened in Larne, where policemen obviously turned their back, or certainly they turned a blind eye anyway to what was actually going on. Okay, so that really angered many people in the IVF, and they started to get more radical because of that. Pearse joins the IRB, obviously, and he suggests this. Personally, I think an orange man with a rifle is a much less ridiculous figure than the nationalists without one. So, very important statement. Okay, so he believes this is part of the process. This is what's actually happening, and Irish nationalists needed to arm. And another one phrase from Rees would suggest that Carson had brought the gun back into Irish politics. Okay, so his actions had brought the gun back into Irish politics. So these are actually our key medium-term causes of the Easter Rising. Hopefully makes sense.